Well, looks like part 6 just got announced for an anime. You know what that means. Time to rake up some free views. Alright, so if you're new to my channel, you might be a bit confused. And if you've never seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I recommend watching it on Netflix or just, I don't know, watching the rest of this video if you don't care about spoilers. But before I made Pokemon content constantly, I used to shit out JoJo videos. And the thing is, I stopped doing that because, well, I very quickly realized that I didn't really have all that much to say. But now that I've spent some time away from the series, I can really just sort of compile all my thoughts into one video. And I'm doing it now because, you know, the new part's gonna come out and I'm kind of excited for it. So, yeah, I'm gonna rank and review all the JoJo parts I've seen. Now, by seen, I mean I watched parts 1 through 5 and read the part 6 manga. I have not read part 7 for reasons I will get into later, but holy shit, this has been one journey. Even though it might sound like I'm being overly negative towards these parts, I still love them and they're still some of the best shonen material out there. Alright, introduction over, let's review the shit. Part 3 is the worst thing ever and I fucking hate it. Alright, maybe that's a bit harsh, but I already made a video explaining all of my problems with this. Alright, so you have a character that you can't relate to as your main character. Most of your characters are cardboard cutouts. The jokes aren't funny, it really outstays its welcome. Like, all of the stand battles are really boring after a while. Like, honestly, the only reason that you keep watching is just to see Dio. And when you do, he isn't really the same because, well, Dio works way better with Jonathan Joestar. Because, you know, they're the exact opposite. They make a dynamic duo. The fact that Jonathan can't bring himself to kill Dio makes their dynamic a lot better. Jotaro doesn't even give a shit about Dio until he starts killing his friends. Dio honestly baffles me, because if they just chose, like, if they just made their own original, like, villain, I think this part would be so much better. And honestly, I gotta say this, read the manga for this part if you wish to experience it. Because the manga at least stays entertaining with episodic chapters. In the anime, holy shit. While watching it, I feel like I'm dying. It is so boring. Oh yeah, let's fight a car. Let's fight a gambler. Let's fight a twice. It's not good. And honestly, if you don't want to read the manga, I recommend the OVA over the anime. And some people are going to be really pissed off because for whatever reason, everyone decides to shit on the OVA when the OVA fixes all of the problems I laid out. Dio is more present, like the plot makes sense, and there's actual conflict. Oh, but it's not the original manga. I swear to God. JoJo fans treat Araki like he's the second coming sometimes. Like, oh, everything he writes is sacred. No, it isn't. The reason why part 5 sucked for such a long time was because he didn't know how to draw. Holy shit, dude. Not everything he writes is a magnum opus. It's just, he's one guy. He's bound to fuck up. And honestly, if you want something that trims the fat of this long, boring part and makes it entertaining, then yeah, just watch the OVA. It has the same moments, the same character deaths, the same ending. Honestly, it's a better experience than if you watch the other thing. And I know I'm going to get crucified for that because praising the OVA is tantamount to worshipping Hitler online, but it's just true. So yeah, 1 out of 10 for part 3. Yeah, fuck part 3. Alright, next part. I have been quoted, well not quoted, but I have said before that part 1 is the worst part. And honestly, looking back to it, it really isn't that bad. And when I say that, I mean it's not as bad as part 3. Part 1 is pretty terrible. It suffers from the same problems that part 1 has. Like, The characters feel flat and boring. The main character is just bland and uninteresting. But it is saved by two things. One, this part is short, meaning that it's about as painful as like a shot, you know, one and done, and you never have to watch it again except if you're me. And the other thing is that Dio actually feels like he means something in this part. Being a foil to Jonathan works so much better than him just being a random evil dude. Like, the fact that he tries to take over all of England because he realizes that he's a god is way more fucking interesting than him just fucking hiding in Egypt. So yeah, part 1 is marginally better than part 3, and honestly, I might change this opinion because I usually go back and forth on this, but whatever. Part 1 is a 1.5 out of 10. Hey kids, you want some hot takes? Alright, here's the hot take. Part 5 is kind of peculiar to me, for lack of a better term. So part 5, I gotta be real, everyone loves part 5, because it was the newest anime, the animation's crisp, and yeah, the animation is super cool. Honestly, it kind of makes you forget that the plot is kind of fucking stupid. So, right off the bat, Giorno's story has literally nothing to do with the connected story of the other parts. It makes it worse, because you could just say, oh, part 5's a cool little side story or whatever, which it should have been in my opinion, but no. It makes it worse, because, you know, you're told that Giorno is Dio's son, except he doesn't act like Dio at all, and he's really, really fucking boring. At least Jonathan was nice. Giorno is just about as blank as you can get. There is nothing to him. He just doesn't like bad guys and doesn't like drugs. Like, yeah, that's it. If he was really focused on about as much as you would expect, this part would probably be where part 1 is. Cause good lord, Giorno sucks. But thankfully it is saved by the true main character of this part, and I will die with this opinion, Bruno Bucciarati. Bucciarati is basically the main character. Giorno is just there for most of the part. Most of the action concerns him and his job as a capo. Like, there's gang wars with stands that are really interesting. His stand ability is way cooler than whatever the fuck Giorno can do. And honestly, he's just a more enticing character because he doesn't have generic traits. Like, everyone like makes fun of him, like, because he's like, oh, well, he's a mom to all these teenagers. But yeah, honestly, a story about a guy who views like his gangster family as his actual family is way more enticing than some jack-off with an OP stand. Speaking of, holy shit, Giorno is OP for no reason. If you thought Jotaro just giving a free win card for most of the time is really fucking dumb, then you will not like most of Giorno's fights. Giorno wins most of these fights because, alright, his stand has the ability to give life to objects. Meaning that if he punches you, he could turn your face into a bunch of beetles and just have him scurry away. He's basically already won every single fight. All of his iconic moments include him just getting the upper hand. There isn't even a quote that people can latch onto, so people just go to the first thing he says, which is, I am Giorno Giovanna and I have a dream. Like, come on, dude. He literally has nothing, is OP for no reason. And honestly, I could mention the side characters here, but like the side characters again, fix everything out, because I gotta be real, Mista is everything that was good about Polnareff and more. He's not only a better comic relief character, but his stand is more interesting than just a guy with a sword. Narancia is, he's kinda... another hot take, I didn't really care for Narancia. Sorry. If I want a dumbass character in JoJo, I'll just go to Okuyasu. Thanks. Fugo gets written out of the plot, but everyone's like, oh, nope, you can't critique that. But, like, it's dumb. Because, like, Fugo is, like, he's built up like, oh, yeah, he's going to be a main character. Araki was originally going to have him turn against the main characters and be a spy, which would be really cool to see Giorno versus Purple Haze, possibly the only stands that could defeat Gold Experience. But nope, he just gets written out of the fucking story. Great. And honestly, I'd say the biggest problem with part 5 is the fact that, like, you switch villains halfway through. Half the part is dedicated to dealing with this gangster cabal that want to take out Bruno and Bruno's boss. And then it's revealed that they were actually killing the guys who they wanted to team up with. Like, having Diavolo be the main villain is so dumb. And also, his plan is stupid. So, he wants them to deliver his daughter to them, so he could kill her himself. Why not just order, like, Fugo to melt her? Bam! You're safe. Also, why does he want to be safe? This is the biggest problem. It's like said that, like, oh, he wants to keep his secret. But we never learn his fucking secret. All we learn is that he probably killed his mom and that he burnt down his hometown. Okay, you're a gangster. You've killed tons of people. Who would give a shit? Like, I don't know, maybe he didn't want people to look at his dumbass hair. Like, I think that's it. Honestly, I could go on about how, like as you go on, less shit makes sense. Like, Silver Chariot Requiem's ability makes kind of no sense. And then Giorno just gets a free power-up at the end because he's the main character. But everyone's already talked about that shit. And frankly, the more I talk about part 5, the less I like it. But I do need you to understand that this part kicks ass in the animation department. The animation is so smooth and even makes parts I would normally hate, like the 7-page Muda, look actually stunning. So yeah, if you wanna experience this part, definitely watch the anime. I haven't read the manga, but I've heard horror stories. So yeah, I'm not even gonna try to touch that. So yeah, part 5 overall is like, I don't know, maybe like a 6.5? Yeah, 6.5 sounds good. Alright, part 2. Now, everybody memes that this is the best part, and I gotta be real. It would be if I haven't seen this so many times. Like, honestly, after rewatching this so much, it does not hold up. Alright, so if it takes Santana a while to learn English, how come the other Pillarmen just know it if they lived with the Romans? Wouldn't they just speak Latin? And there's other plot holes, well, not plot holes, like just shit that doesn't make sense. How does Stroheim come back? He blew himself up with a bomb. How the fuck does Caesar make bubbles? I know he's throwing hormone into the soap on his clothes, but then, alright, wait a second. Wouldn't just water in general negate any use a stand could have? Because you could just, I don't know, if you could just do whatever the fuck you want with anything that's organic, then I guess then you don't really need stands, do you? Joseph in part 3 could have just gotten a glass of water and like turned it into icicle shards or whatever the fuck and stabbed the guy to death. But no, never explained. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I really like this part for like 2 reasons. Number 2, Joseph is such a good character. He is so compelling, and honestly, even if he seems like a bit of a dick, you just can't take your eyes away from him. Even the dumb fights like the Nazi fight in the desert are still entertaining because he uses his abilities in interesting ways. And honestly, I'd say that he is the encapsulation of what a good JoJo protagonist should be. Charismatic, uses their ability in interesting ways, and well, compelling, even if they're not likable. Like all things that Giorno, Jotaro, and Jonathan failed at. So yeah, number 2, the side characters aren't, like, they're okay. Caesar's okay as a best friend character because you actually get to see them be friends, unlike other protagonists. Until, you know, it's very obvious that he's going to die. Lisa, I gotta be real. Everyone says that she is such a, oh, well, she's a profound feminist character because at that time, women weren't really in shonen. And yeah, I get it. But honestly, she kills a guy. Everyone's like, wow, what a strong female character. And then she gets her ass kicked. She's stronger than Joseph, and she just gets fucking killed by Shadow Clone Jutsu. Yeah. Alright, now the shit I hate. Cars is possibly one of the worst villains of all time. You thought Diavolo was bad with like barely being on screen? Look at this poser. This guy just wants to be the ultimate life form so he can just dance in the sun. That's it. His endgame isn't even to like take over the world. Why would he want that? He's already stronger than everyone. What the fuck is his endgame here? Oh no, we don't get that. And honestly, if you ask me, I think Wamu would have made for a better antagonist if he just got tired of Kars' bullshit and fucking killed him, and then he became mad with power. That'd be a better fucking story. But yeah, when you have a side character who's better than your fucking main villain. I've already gotten to like why I don't like von Stroheim. He is kind of funny if you ignore the fact that he's, you know, an SS officer. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'd say part 2 is a very generous 7 out of 10. Alright, now, what's for the second place spot? Part 6. Oh yeah, I could hear it. I could hear the discourse in the comment section. But Shockmeister told me the ending is bad. Oh, Hermes disappears. Oh, the ending is dumb. Alright, so time to quell some of this shit that I really hate hearing. Number 1, part 6 isn't even that bad. It's pretty good in a lot of places. Just because one popular JoJo tuber doesn't like it, doesn't give all of you the fucking excuse of saying that something that you haven't read is bad. Yeah, that's right, don't lie, I know you didn't read it. Cause if you did read it, you would know that these claims are horse shit. The thing is, Jolene is a very, very compelling antagonist. Not antagonist, protagonist. She's relatable, like she hates Jotaro for the same reasons I hate Jotaro. Her ability is cool and interesting. It's everything you would want out of a JoJo protagonist. Like the ending is dumb, but every JoJo ending is dumb. The ending of part 1 literally gets retcons like 3 times. The ending of part 2 is like grade A bullshit. But no, yeah, we can accept a Pillar Man getting blasted into space by rocks, but we can't accept the villain winning and reversing time, cause that's dumb. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Pucci at least had a fucking plan, Kars didn't. Now to the shit I like. Again, Jolene is a very, very compelling protagonist. Like, she's funny, she's a badass, she's relatable. She's basically everything Josuke is, except with daddy issues, and even then, that's an interesting flaw. All good characters have flaws. So yeah, that's cool. Hermes is a pretty good best friend character. She's played for like the comic relief because she's very vulgar, but honestly, her ability is pretty broken. And yeah, everyone makes fun of the stand stats, but like honestly, who gives a shit? The stand stats are kind of dumb anyway. A lot of the fights are a lot more memorable than the part 3 fights in my opinion. There's a fight where they have to fight invisible zombies. There's one where there's this guy who reverses gravity and they have to learn how to navigate through that. That's also really cool. And also, Pucci's ability is actually pretty cool. He has the ability to steal your ability. That's like cool as fuck. And for a series that's based around characters with interesting abilities, it's cool. I mean, yeah, it's obvious, but like, who gives a shit? Like, there's one fight where they have to fight Pinocchio and Walt Disney characters. It's incredibly, incredibly good. Back to characters. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. Anasui, I gotta be real. Anasui's kind of an ass. He like sees Jolene once and is like, yes, my true love. And then he just is basically Hermes because Hermes gets hurt. A lot of people say that they don't like part 6 because Hermes is absent for most of it, yet they're fine with part 3, and Cacjoin leaves for a long ass time. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? Oh, part 3's good, but part 6 shouldn't have had a fake out death with Hermes. Only part 3 gets to do that. Like, shut the fuck up, you don't know what you're talking about. And last but not least, Weather Report is pretty cool. He has the ability to, like, control the rain. And that sounds dumb until, you know, you realize what he does with it. And honestly, I will address the elephant in the room. The ending of part 6 is really bad. Compared to like other parts, it's very obvious that Araki was just tired of writing JoJo and kind of just wanted to say, well, fuck it. The bad guy wins, the end. they all just die. And yeah, I could see how that's upsetting to a lot of people after getting attached to Jolene, but honestly, again, I'd still say it's a better ending than what part 2 had. Even though Weather Report becoming an asshole for like it because he remembers his memory and he could turn people into snails somehow. Okay. Also, Emporio's kind of dumb. Like, part 6 also kind of left me exhausted, because you could kind of sense how exhausted Araki was of writing this shit every week. So that's why I haven't read part 7, because after part 6, I just felt so exhausted. But yeah, honestly, don't believe anything people say about part 6. I'm 90% sure they're just mad at it because Jolene happens to have a vagina and not a penis. It could be other reasons. Of course, it's valid to not like something because you just don't like it. But considering the guy who made the video, part 6 sucks, also hangs up a fucking Kekistan flag in his household, I say that, yeah, don't listen to the haters and experience it for yourself. And if you don't like it, that's perfectly fine. Just like, you know, experience something before you hate it. So I'm gonna give part 6 8, 7.5, 7.9 out of 10. You know what, fuck it, 8 out of 10. Alright, let's talk about my favorite part now. Alright, and now for my favorite part, part 4. Part 4 is the best part of JoJo. It is the part where it peaked, and you could tell because through every single interaction, you could tell how happy Araki was to flesh out each of the characters. Josuke is written like an everyday teenager who doesn't really want to hurt people. He's basically like Peter Parker with anger issues. You get the best part of Jotaro, like his badassery, with like the best parts of Jonathan, his like humility. He feels like a human dude. When he's confronted by like a person he literally just had to fight, and the guy's like, yeah, let's be friends, he becomes his friend out of pity. And honestly, Okuyasu is one of the best side characters ever. Alright, imagine Patrick Star, except Patrick Star is like OP as fuck. Yeah, a lot of these fights are really good, just like in general. I can list like 10, like Harvest, the Wooden Josuke, the Rat, Kira again, the Photograph guy. So yeah, like a lot of these characters are just really cool, and I would be damned if I didn't mention one of the best characters ever, Araki's self-insert, Kishibe Rohan. Rohan is so fucking cool. He's like, at first he, like, to use the SpongeBob comparison, he seems like your average Squidward Tentacles, the artist who's just like kind of insane and uses people for selfish needs. But after that, he's incorporated in stories you never thought would be cool. Like, they find a ghost lady where you can't turn around or else you get eaten by zombies. He's included in a story where or if anyone looks at his back, he dies. Rohan is just used to his fullest constantly. And yeah, the characters you meet along the way in part 4 at first seem like ruthless psychopaths, but honestly, like when you look at them deeper, they're just really cool. Like, I feel like part 4 is a direct reaction to part 3, where all the villains are just one note and stupid. Because take someone like Yuya. Yuya is a car racer until he got in an accident, leaving his entire body paralyzed. Wanting to move again, the stand arrow, I'm not going to explain it, gave him the power to drain other people's nutrients. So much like a normal wealthy celebrity, he must drain other people to bring himself back to life. And his fight's actually cool. Like, Josuke needs to use his abilities in cool and interesting ways to escape him. The fight goes around the entire town. It is one of the most impactful things ever. And yeah, some people might say that that a lot of fights in part 4 are filler, but honestly, I think they're using the word wrong. Filler to me means something that doesn't impact the plot and doesn't impact the characters at all. So like, say a fight like Strength from JoJo Part 3. You could remove that fight entirely and almost nothing would change. To me, fights like that are filler. But if you take a fight like the Rock Paper Scissors boy and Diamond is Unbreakable, you learn so much about how Rohan thinks just from a rock, paper, scissors game. So even while the fight is kind of useless story-wise, you learn a lot about the characters. And I would be sinning if I didn't mention the best part of part 4, Yoshikage Kira. Yoshikage Kira is the greatest villain Araki has ever written. Again, I haven't read part 6 or part 8, so I don't know if Valentine's better, but whatever. Like, Araki said like, what if I make a murder mystery villain relatable? That's right, Kira's a murderer, but he's relatable. He's a guy who just likes to take walks through the park. He's a guy who just wants to have a quiet life, who wants to make everything for himself. And yeah, he is a murderer, but you kind of get it after a while. And that's the best thing about part 4. There are tons of characters who at first seem greedy or selfish, like Shigechi, who's just this greedy little kid, but has one of the most heartwarming death scenes in the entire thing. All these characters at surface level seem like shonen characters, like I'm the bad guy of this, rawr, and then on a deeper level, they're just human. Even dumbasses like Okuyasu. Like, the entire reason why he wants to be friends with Josuke is because without friends, the loneliness of the fact that nobody understands him would crush him. So even though he doesn't know this guy, he tries his hardest to be this guy's friend. That's like so fucking cool and sad. That's really sad. But like, yeah. Honestly, part 4 is the best part in all of JoJo. And honestly, if you disagree with that, that's fine. I recommend the closest river to jump into. That's where you and all your fucking part 6 haters are gonna be. I can't wait for the part 6 anime. My opinions might change, and will probably change after the anime airs. I don't know, maybe the anime adaptation will be really fucking bad, like part 3's, or it'll be super good like the part 5 one. But honestly, I don't know and I don't care. This has been Trotsky the Crusader. Did you really think it was over? Yeah, that's right.
Time for a lightning round.
It's time to rank all the JoJo main characters and villains.
Really fucking fast.
Alright. With a 0 out of 10, we got Giorno. With a 3 out of 10, we got Jonathan. With a 5 out of 10, we got Jotaro. With a 6 out of 10, we have Jolene. With a 9 out of 10, we have Josuke. And with a 10 out of 10, we have Joseph Joestar. Oh yeah, you just thought this shit was starting? Well, strap down, motherfucker. We're getting deep into it. With a 0 out of 10, we have Cars. With a 5 out of 10, we have Diablo. With a 7 out of 10, we have Dio Part 3. With a 9 out of 10, we have Dio Part 1. And with a 10 out of 10, we have Yoshikage Kira. Alright, now that the lightning round's over, the video is done. Leave your hate below, and goodbye. I'm out of this bitch. Bye!